Today we are discussing about reports in Nakisa Lease Accounting. Representing it to you, and I'll be supported by my team members, Catalina, Pratibha, Fahad. So this is the agenda for today. It seems a lot, but you have seen most of it already, and there are some new reports that we will show you today. And we'll discuss how you use them on your monthly basis, or when you do your lease modification, or your year-end, how you use your reports with Nakisa right now. So what's the purpose and key benefits of reporting in Nakisa? So what comes to your mind when you think of reporting in Nakisa? We would like to be a trusted software partner for your lease accounting reporting. And that's why we have consistency, where every report adheres to your quality control and maintains uniformity and reliability. Trust, its reporting meets all the regulatory and accounting standard requirements for IFRS and ASC 842. And you can be rest assured, as you've been using, that it's accurate and reliable, and it passes the SOC testing as well, the solution itself. So what are the reports available in Nakisa Lease Accounting right now in our latest version? We have reports in our general ledger suite, which is consolidated transaction report, GL balance report, and we'll see how we can use dashboards. I think I have managed to delete one slide. I guess we'll leave it as this. It's basically showing you all the reports of the other reports that are available on the main Nakisa financial suite that we have. We'll go through it. So, introduction to the reports. So, who can generate reports and dashboards? I'm not covering dashboards much today, but just to show you how reports can be also used in dashboards. So, who can generate them? The permission matrix that we have in the latest version, not everybody can be able to use reports similar to our previous versions as well. So this is a snippet from our permission and role matrix, and all the users who have the reporting user role will be able to either access it on the main NLA page or the Nakisa General Ledger, where we have the CTR and the GL balance report. So only these roles will allow you to have access to the reports and generating the reports. Also, dashboards, I'm just covering quickly. As I said, we may use reports and dashboards as well. And the same role applies, that you have to have a dashboard user in the Nakisa General Ledger and the Nakisa Lease Accounting. So if the user does not have these roles, they will not be able to generate these dashboards. So the new version, as compared to our previous versions, have the feature called profile, which must be set up. I'll go through in a second, and I'll show you the reports, how to set up a profile, run reports, and scheduling setup. So it's pretty much similar to, applies to all the reports that we have. And we'll cover what's profile. Profile allows you to specify which contract objects should be used in a report based on the defined set of filters that you will be creating in the profile itself. And it will allow you to reuse the same filters across multiple report jobs in future, and you can always modify them as well if required. Each profile must be set up to generate a report. Most of the reports do require profiles. We'll go through which ones don't require profiles. So under each reporting section, it will also display your profiles which a user has created. A user may have multiple profiles, but minimum requirement is one. So this is an example for disclosure report. Similar profiles will be required for other reports, as I mentioned, and you have to complete the filter necessary for completing the disclosure profile would be the system, which is with the asterisks. You can define a name, the calendar type, and you will just submit it, and you will see in the background we have multiple profiles set up already. Similar to this, once you create a profile, you can delete it, you can add additional, and you can modify them as well. If you scroll on the right, we'll show you in the UI how we can actually modify it. And profiles are unique to each user. So if I create one, another user in my team cannot be able to see it for now. Then going to the next step, which is once your profile is set up, you generate your reports. And this is a simple example of how you generate a disclosure report. In this example, we'll see the first step is to actually assign the profile. You may have multiple, you can choose one. In this case, I have chosen a company that I only want to run this report for. And secondly, I will select the dates I would like to have. The calendar type is can be selected as well at the same time, if not selected in the profile. And then we have additional filters. You can run the report for the lessee. If you have a lessor module as well, you can run for lessor. And all these filters needs to be filled in. The next one is the object list. If you would like to only run it for one specific object, if maybe an MLA, a contract, a lease component, or on an AG, you can simply click on the icon and a pop-up will appear here where you can enter it. And you can run the report or the disclosure reports one time, only for all the reports that you see on the screen right now. So there are 8 reports that you can run at the same time. You don't have to run the report for each report mentioned below separately. They all can be run all together. The scheduling aspect that we have for our reports is also available for disclosure reports and some other reports. May appear in different locations, which we will go through in a bit. In this example, you'll see that we have, again, we document the name, we enter the name of the report that we are doing, scheduling, the profile, and the similar concept what we already have, except we are just going to add how often you want to run the report. So if you want to run the report daily, hourly, weekly, monthly, or yearly, you can schedule it and not think about it. It will be generated and available for use upon the entered date and hour. So as I said, the disclosure reports that we have, this is the main reports that we have for your compliance. And so what does the disclosure reports in NLA do? It helps the user to produce the reports for your disclosure, financial disclosure on your financial statements as per your accounting standards. The reports provide a contract listing where the amounts are displayed by contract currency, target currency, and the reports can also be run for the functional currency. Depends if you have run a single company code, or when you have a presentation group currency, you can have more than one company selected. These reports are out of the box and you cannot modify them. We'll show you, we have other reports which can be modified. So as I mentioned previously, what's new now is that now in the latest version that we have, can actually run simultaneously all the reports. You no longer need to run each report separately. Secondly, you have reports that can be run for more than 12 months, as well as the lease classification. You can choose one, multiple, or all the classifications, and which can be filtered in the Excel report for analysis later. Classification for service contracts, which is also included now in the disclosure report. Obviously, it will change a bit based on what you are what is seen for the service contracts. I have slides to show you further down. So These are the disclosure reports that are available in NLA, which is for compliance, and they are under our lease accounting suite, and you'll see them right under the reporting module. So these are not new reports, but I'm still going to go through them. If anybody has a question, feel free to ask a question. Anybody has a question as of now, just for the introduction? Okay. So we'll go quickly through the disclosure reports that we have. The asset roll forward report, it presents a yearly summary of the RU asset for the remaining lease term. This report will generate one line item per contract for every period, one line summary. So we run for 12 months. There'll be an opening line, then we have 12 lines, and then we'll have a summary line. So in this example, we'll see that I have actually reduced the rows, and I only see the opening, and I see the closing. I've removed the others. The cash flow report, it presents a summary of the impact to the cash flow statement during the reporting period. And the summary includes cash paid for the amounts included in the measurement of the lease liabilities, which is segregated also between operating and cash flow, financing cash flows. Maturity analysis report. This report gives us annual breakdown for the undiscounted future lease payments for the current year and the next 5 years, and a total for the remaining years of the reporting period. So the example I can give you here is simple. The first year column reflects the remaining payments within the same calendar year as the selected period and date. So example would be that if the period end date selected is June 30th of this year, 2023, the first column will show July until December. And the subsequent years will show beginning of the first 2024 January until the end of the lease payment. So every year will be working with the calendar year. It also includes a reconciliation for undiscounted cash flows. And I'll give you an example right here. So as we said that we ran the report for the period end for the maturity analysis report here example is showing us it ends on December 31st of the year 2020. And that's why the year one is 0. We see the 12 months payments after that, and then a total year. Because the lease has finished, we won't see the additional years or thereafter. As mentioned before, we do see the split between the short-term and the long-term liability. The lease liability report here, the report displays the future finance charges broken down to short-term and long-term, and it also shows the principal liability balances separated into short-term and long-term for the reporting period. So our reporting period again is December 31st, 2020, and we see the split, and this amount actually matches the one that we have above, which is right here. So this is what you probably use for your financial statement disclosures for the payments for the next 5 years and thereafter. Next we have is a weighted average discount rate. The report displays the weighted average discount rate for each lease based on the daily effective interest rate used to calculate the lease liability at the reporting period end date. Similar to the average rate, this is the weighted average lease term report. It will display the average remaining lease term for each contract based on the remaining lease term and the liability balances at the reporting date. Last is we have the expense report. This report displays a summary of the impact on the income statement during the reporting period. It will include your interest expense, amortization expense. This section is for the finance leases, and this section is for the operating leases on the right. Does anybody have a question so far?
No questions. Continue.
Thank you, Carolina. The next is a non-lease charge expense report. This will display the summary of the impact on the income statement due to non-lease charges in the contract. That could be your insurance, your parking, or your cleaning. A few examples. What's new in the report? Next section. As I mentioned before, we can run the reports for single, multiple, or all classifications, which do not, which was not there in our previous version, the older version that we were on. The only change is that if obviously you select only finance and operating under US GAAP, you are able to select all the reports. But if you choose service contracts, short-term and low-value contracts, the availability of running the reports gets reduced because they will not generate the other reports. As example, the asset roll forward report, lease liability report, and the others. As I said before, service contracts is now included. Showing you a snippet from our UI. It may be just general the compliance report that we have, the periodic posting. We see now we have it available on all the generating jobs that we have for running the reports. Active analysis report, jail balance, they all have it now. So it's easier to reconcile and validate your data for the service contracts as well. Okay, so I've covered the disclosure reports. Again, I'll take a quick pause. Anybody has a question on the disclosure reports?
I maybe have just a comment. When we're talking about non-lease charges and service contracts and the disclosures, I know that some customers will say, well, that's great for my note disclosure, but it does not belong in my lease note disclosure. So we're pretty much providing that level of flexibility to our customers. If this is, for example, a material, it's your decision whether it goes into your lease note disclosures or your other note disclosures. So don't automatically include them in the lease disclosures if you haven't given proper consideration as to where they properly belong within your notes.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay, so the activity analysis report that's available also is basically providing you a consolidated roll forward report for both asset and liability, and you can consult the financial impact of the lease modification or reassessment performed during a period per activation group. So you can access it through your main page and under reporting module. This will also require the user to create the profile, and they can run the job live, or they can schedule on a monthly basis if it's part of your month-end process to check and validate what were the activities that took in place, be by amount or number of activities for each year. I can actually show an example for all the for the disclosure reports and the activity analysis report. Let me show you the activity analysis report. So this is an example for where we run the report, and we see that the report is showing me only one here because everything else is 0. And here we had 1 because we ran a casualty on this AG. So if I go back on my input that I have made on this report, when I ran this report, was basically I was checking, tell me by count how many modifications were done during this period, and I chose this company for all the lease types. So that's what it gave me. An example for the activity analysis by amount would be similar. The report was run requesting the information, give me the amounts by which there was changes in the contracts and the period was defined. And we will see here that there is the changes that will appear here. There was a new lease. It will show us that there was a new lease and the amounts for each for each change, that financial impact that occurs. So in this case, we have simply a new lease was added and there was no impairment, and we'll see the change that happens by the amount, the depreciation that was booked on it. And I don't see any other event that has happened on this particular AG. Does anybody have a question on the activity analysis report? This is a very simple example, but you may have examples where you have made changes and it will actually appear, it'll appear on your, if it's a casualty, it'll appear here. If there's a null determination, you will see amounts and a financial impact on this report. And going back to the other reports, quick snippet is we have our reports for asset roll forward. I've already provided a snippet before, but this is how it looks in Excel once you have generated and exported it. Similarly, we have the cash flow statement, the expense report. Yes, this is the one I want to show. We'll have the finance and the operating lease expenses. Lease liability will show us, just like my snippets, pretty much the same thing. The report gives you first the contract details, then the amounts in contract currency in the orange, and in the green will give you the amounts in the target currency. You may have multiple asset classes, and here will be a total summary for each asset class to be reported. So those were the reports for disclosures, and as well as I've in Excel the same snippet I had on the slide for the maturity analysis by calendar year. Again, the concept is pretty much the same. We start on the complete left with the details of the contract. Then we have the amounts by current contract currency and then the target currency, the summary on the non-charges. As mentioned before, we have the Excel as well here, which will provide information for each contract if there's any non-lease charges. It doesn't provide you much detail, but you can always go back and see on the AG itself. Next one we have is the weighted average. Again, these are just snippets from the same Excel file that I had shown before. Go back to the presentation. Sorry, one long. The periodic posting status report, this is one of the reports to be used also for month end. Will provide you a list of transactions for accruals, journal entries that we have for payments, accruals, and depreciation, and their posting status. Similar to the other reports, you will see it under the reporting module in the periodic posting status report. Profile is required, job is required, and scheduled jobs can be made so that you can see at the month end, or if you have a process in place, a particular date where all the posting should be posted and completed, it's scheduled for that date, and you will be able to see which entries have been posted. So maybe I have not have a snippet here, so it's a good idea to show you here. This will show you the statuses. So this is an example of periodic posting status report, which was run. I can go back and show which was run for which period. Probably this is a period that was run for, and we will see that the internal status has 2 columns, and then we have the external status, 3 columns. So 1 status for internal for each of the journals and 1 for the external. if you are disconnected, then you will just see internal. And if you are connected by the end of the process of your month end, you should have both of them posted, internal as well as the external. Those are our standard reports, and there are some additional reports which require them to be enabled in our financial org structure. Now we call it FOSS in order to see them. So we will simply come to the ERP system in the setting, and then we will filter and search for advanced analytics mode, and we will simply put the value as true. Once it is true, you'll be able to see the additional reports that we have that I'm going to present to you now. So financial reports, I'll go through them quickly. Out of the box, these reports appear under your main Nakisa Lease Accounting Suite module, under reporting module, and then financial reports. We have 3 financial reports here: balance sheet, cash flow, and income statement. They are non-editable if you want to access them from here, but they can be editable in dashboards, and then you can modify them as you need. These reports are all in contract currency, and the download report is also emailed to the user. So the balance sheet report, as it states, it will have, you can use it for, as mentioned here, it serves as a comprehensive overview of the company's financial standing, focusing particularly on the lease-related assets and liabilities. So it has qualitative and quantitative data. And give you a snippet. This is how it looks like when you open it. I can show it to you on the UI as well. Here we will see that you have the filters on the left column for all these options that you have. You can actually drill it down if you want to run this report for a particular company or a cost center, or accounting standard, obviously. Then we also have the feature here on the right. You can download it. And as I said, this is not modifiable. So I can show you how we can modify these reports. UI. So the balance sheet reports, the financial reports, can be accessed from our main module. We'll come to the reporting module, and then we have financial reports. These reports do not require the profiles, as you can see. Go back to the balance sheet report. Okay, I'm going to try another time.
Ruchika, sorry to interrupt. Fahad has his hand up.
Yes, Afad, go ahead. I didn't see.
Yes, sorry for interruption. So just a correction. We needed to turn on the switch in previous lease to see these additional reports, which include financial reports, contract expiration report, DQA report, CFS report, and asset data report per unit. But like as per the latest release, we no longer need to turn on the switch. So these are enabled by default. So just a correction.
Perfect. Thank you, Fahad. I to just go back. Now, as Fahad said, we no longer have to run the report, run the FOSS manager page and activate it. So give me a second. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, so there's probably something going on, not sure. But I can show you maybe, yeah, okay. So what I wanted to show you is basically as I mentioned, the financial reports are actually out of the box and you cannot modify them. But each of the report, if you come on the three dots on the right and you duplicate the page, it will actually appear in your dashboard. So you can name it what you want, and it will appear and it will be saved automatically in your dashboard. You cannot modify the pivot table dashboard or what type of dashboard you want it to be or the data set, but you can actually play with the report on the dashboard. So when you will come on our main menu, the hamburger menu or the three rows, which may call reporting module, sorry, my bad, you'll come to dashboards, and under dashboards, I'll go slowly. Under dashboards, we'll see we have all these dashboards, which we can cover another time, but just want to show you the custom dashboard. So you can see my dashboard is right here. It is actually not the one I just showed you, but it's a previous version that I was showing you. I wanted to test and show it to you. So basically here, when you will come, you'll be able to filter them and you'll be able to see. Let me see if I have it on my slides. So I don't have it on my slides, but basically the financial reports for balance sheet, income statement, and cash flows, they all can be modified and played with. You can move the columns from right to left. You can add additional calculation if you want once they're on the dashboard. So as I said before, the name defines by itself. The balance sheet report will give you the balances for the period end that you have selected. The cash flow report shows you analysis on the financial transaction related to leases for, again, both qualitative and quantitative. It will show you the financial, the cash flow associated with the lease agreements that you have and the payments that have been made. So cash flow report. The income statement report, again, self-explanatory, will include the lease expenses, which reflect the expenses incurred for the lease of the assets over the period selected. And report, again, it's very similar to this one that we have seen previously. We can filter it based on these options that we have on the left column, the accounting standard classification system, and then we have the option of either downloading it or we can actually, this is a dashboard that I'm showing you. So you can see that this icon here is to delete. This is to change the view. If you want to see the rows above and below, you can modify it here. And this is the icon for edit. You can actually have additional calculations if you require. The icon here is for you to download it. The icon here, which is similar to others that we have previously, you can add additional charts. It doesn't show, but yeah, you can actually add additional chart because this is a dashboard view of the income statement that I have saved and I wanted to show you. Anybody has a question on the financial reports? I'm not sure if people are using it. Anybody want to comment if they have seen it, know anything about it, or it's all new for you? Edward?
No, we aren't currently using this report at this time. So, but we are
You're not?
using quite a bit of the other ones.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for your input. Okay, so if I go in the next section, the contract expiration date report.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to mention one thing that this report in previous version were included in a different module. Now they're offered out of the box, and they're a great help for planning, for budgeting, especially as you can extract a lot of the information for the future, and you have that setup that it's usually input directly in something like a forecast. And on top of this, from what Ruchika presented, even disclosure reports, you can export them, you can extract them for periods in the future, and you're no longer limited to one particular fiscal period or fiscal year. So there are great advantages into using this. So go ahead, Ruchika. Sorry for the interruption.
No, it's always good information. More information is good information. So the next one is the contract expiration. Edward, do you use this one in your quarterly, monthly reviews?
Yes, this is definitely one we use quite a bit in regards to monitoring our leases. So,
okay, good to hear. Do you have a schedule report on it, or like somebody manually runs it every time on a month end, or do you have what's the process that you have? I may ask.
What we normally use this for is for monitoring contracts that are expiring. So we'll run the reports on a quarterly basis for a 90-day period and then reach out to those individuals that are outside the accounting teams in regards to renewals, and like to verify that the contracts are actually terminating or if they have extensions coming into play. So
Right, but that way you can add on the lease modifications if they need to be given to you on time.
exactly, in a much timelier manner, because in the past we had been, terminating leases, and then we get a note that month. Oh, hey, here's a the extension for that lease. And now we have to provide them all new information, and we're putting a new lease in to the contract when we normally didn't have to do that. So.
Right. And do you also use it for verifying your unexercised extension and options? Like, I guess in the same thing, right? You reach out to them and ask them if they have. Okay.
Yep.
Sense. Okay. So yeah, this basically report is providing you the unexercised extension or termination or purchase, or as you said, if there's any other lease modification that needs to be done, it helps you in that. The report will have all the contracts which fall between the report date range, and in this as well, you can actually export the report in the dashboard. As you can see, this sample is that it's out of the box report. I have a screenshot on that. So you see that this is the standard columns that you will see on it. And once I actually ran the dashboard and I said, okay, no, I want to see the likely to expiration date as a first column. And I'm able to actually pull that column from on the right, like maybe the 13th or 14th column, and I can bring it forward. I'm also able to actually, sort the columns. Let me see if my access is back. So if I just go back to the dashboards. Go on the critical reporting module, to contract expiration. So yeah, unfortunately my system is down right now. Give me 1 second. Belong.
Ruchika, maybe you can move on and I'll connect on my end and we'll show it.
Okay, sounds good. I think I can keep kind of 1 second, won't be long. Okay, we're back in business. Thank you, Kara. I have access to it, won't be long. To share my screen. Okay, do you guys see my screen?
We can.
Perfect. So you can see that I had tested all these reports. So you have a standard income statement report, and you can have the report copied and in the dashboard, and then you can modify here. So same thing I did here. I had a contract expiration report in the out of the box, and I copied it. I'll just show you quickly how it was done. It won't be long since we have the reports back. So this is a contract expiration report. We can run filters here. You want to see more filters. You can add more filter than you can remove. You have all the data set here. If you do not want to see some columns, you can simply remove it here by clicking this toggle. And as I mentioned before, here you can simply download it you cannot modify it. So what we can do is a user can come here on the 3 dots on the extreme right side, and you will simply duplicate the page and you will write what you need to do. So example, this is a sample test shown previously. You'll be able to modify it. And the sample I have here that I modified already for you is where I see my lease area to be the first column instead of business unit. Not lease area, my likely to expiration. So maybe it did not work here. It was on a different to build. But if I come here and I say on the edit icon, I can simply come here and I can modify it. This is the data set that we see here. This is our dashboard, which is very customizable. You can play around with it. You can do calculations on it. And here I have simply, you can take one of the data sets that you want, and you can move the columns in, as well as you can change, you can have values on it if you want to do a count, minimum, or sum, as well as if you want to have filters here. So this is something I did to get my reports to have my field all the way in the forward. Let me see. Yeah, that's what I had done. And let me try and do it live if I can. Likely expiration date. So you will simply click what you want to see, in which order, and you can move it around. So it's just coming up, as you can see, and then I'll simply say save on the right column. For some reason, it's giving me an error. But this is the process, how it works. I'll have to go back and check what happened on the build here. Do you have a question, Edward, on that?
No question.
Good. Okay. The next section that we have is the data quality integrity report. This report. So how the users using the data quality integrity report is before the year-end financials closing or even month end to ensure your compliance with IFRS. So what we can do is you can run the report and you can go through the fields and identify if there's something missing, incorrect, or inconsistent with the data on the portfolio, which could include like wrong currency, a classification, or a rate. And then the reviewer can go in depth, they can drill down, and they can see what was the error and if it can be fixed. If it can be fixed, then you should modify it and rerun the report after that to correct the error and view it to make sure it's after correction reports are accurate and complete, ready to be used in the disclosure reports for your financial statement disclosures. So, Edward, do you use the data quality integrity report? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot today.
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Let me show you more, and maybe you might be interested in using it going forward. So we have the data quality integrity report at 2 levels. One is the contract level, which will provide you a comprehensive view of the contract level details. That will always be latest information, and it has no filter date on it. So whatever you put in at the contract level, all the parameters and the inputs, you will see on this report in details. And this report, as Kata mentioned before, all our reports can be exported and scheduled as well. So this is the data quality integrity just for the contract. So an example is here. You again have filters on the left column. It's a standard feature we have. And once you choose your filters, they do appear here on the top bar. And you can change the order of the columns on the right-hand side. by simply coming here, and I'll show you on the UI. And I want to see the status. So if I want to see contract levels, the report only for the active contracts, I can simply move it up, and I can bring the status of the status field as first instead of being the master agreement. And that being said, you can see that we can modify this report. It is easily modified. Back on the UI and show you. I come on the reporting module, and I come on DQI report. Does not require any profile as well. We'll see that we have a similar look. Clicking on the table fields, as I mentioned, I have selected first the status. It was not initially like that. My first column was master agreement, and I said, okay, I would like to now move my contracts as well here, and I want to see my contracts first. Contracts ID first. So this gives the user the option of moving around the documents, the columns, the way it will serve the purpose. And as mentioned, the contract DQI report is providing you all the required fields that you are seeing on your contract level. So it will not go beyond that. It is simply going to give you the fields that are available on the UI, same in the tabular format. And as Kenna said, we can always extract it, and we can validate it if you have random checks, or if you have new contracts that you want to check, you can simply validate and see if the reports, the contract is actually correctly entered in the system, and that is what it was expected of the user to enter. So mistakes can happen. So for example, if you want to change, validate if this, what type of lease was it, you can check by sorting as well. So we have the feature here. If you can see a small tiny arrow, it's saying you can sort it. So I had initially sorted it by my active contracts. So you can sort it and change it. It will change the order as well. If I want to see all the lease types in one together, you can do this in Excel, or you can pivot, or you can do it even before you export it. You can see it's going to give me all the fixed contracts first, and then as we move forward, it will change it. I mean, it looks quite daunting, but if I have drilled down by, a company, will have less contracts in it. Or if you're drilling down by a cost center, you'll have less contracts, and it'll be easier to validate information. Right now, I haven't run no filters on this particular report. So that's the DQI at the contract level. And if we come back to the PowerPoint, we also have the activation group report. So the DQI is also available. This name states itself, data quality integrity report. We just want to make sure that all the information that's in the current active status AG is that what was expected after it was entered or modified or reassessed. So just reading through this, it's basically the report is reads from the revision history, the latest, displays the snapshot of the latest information valid at the end of the selected day. So if you have entered something today, by the end of the day, that's what it's going to pull out. If you have multiple changes, what was the last change for that day? That will be reflected on this report. So the report gives the user access to all the fields that we enter. We have available on the UI for the activation group. So if I go down, if I have a snippet, again, you can sort it. In this case, I actually selected a particular contract. So we'll see we have a contract ID here, and it will give me the terms for the contract. I will come back on the UI. I can scroll down to IAG. And you can see I can even run for a cost center if I want all the reports to be there for the one particular cost center. To active. The system there is nothing to be selected for the likely to exercise. But yeah, you can see that how our number of records are drilling down as we are making more selection for the filters on the top. And then the user can actually see on the screen, or again, Excel, you can export in Excel to validate the information to see if this is what the terms and condition for one contract is, that what you're looking for. So if I just go back and choose one contract here, so this is showing me all the terms that we have for this particular contract. And you can actually review it on UI, or you can export in Excel. So this is the TQI for AG activation group. And we can see there are three terms we have. We have base rent for $1,000 for duration of 4 months, 3 months, and 26 months. So there are three different base rents entered for this contract. So this is basically a snippet of your agents, all the fields on it. So Edward, now that you have seen it, do you see yourself using at any point? If you create a new contract, or you do a lease mod or a reassessment to validate the information is correct?
I could definitely see us using it in regards to the activation group. I'm not sure about the contract level, just because on our side, most of the contract levels are we don't put anything that's not a lease into the system. So they all get the same, classification in regards to that. But I see at the AG group, there's a lot of things that we could analyze at that level. So
yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm glad to hear that you will start using it, or at least check it out and see if it works for you, but it should. So that's our DQI report.
So while Ruchika is taking a breath, I wanted to mention here that the DQI report, we made it available in the current version maybe about 2 years ago, but it's one of the report that it's very much liked by our users, and a lot of companies have integrated it in their processes, month-end processes, checks that they perform, especially when they upload contracts. So we are very proud and happy to have it in the next generation. It is much more flexible, but it has the same type of quality integrity type of view, and it can be used to many ends, especially to filter all sorts of non-financial information, to group, to make sure that you have the correct information as you upload contracts, and then at the AG level for events, for views at a certain period. So all this is available, and hopefully a lot of our users are going to integrate them. We have two more great reports, and I pass it on to you. Ruchika, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Catalina. We have a new report, which is asset data report per unit. And this report is a new report which was not available in any of our older versions. Obviously, the latest version being 6X version, since Edward came on it. It's the asset data report displays the opening balances, additions, disposals, depreciation, and ending balance for all units. So since you have transferred from an AA module to GL module, this report provides a granular view asset data at the unit level that you can see, and it shows if you're transitioning from AA to GL, and also to validate. It's more precise than the aggregated asset roll forward report that we have. And this report can also be exported in Excel. I'll show you a snippet from the UI. We have this that you can, again, standard way of filtering based on these fields that we have available. You can actually drill down for a contract. If you have multiple units on it or a single unit, you'll be able to drill down and see all the information attached to the unit itself. Does anybody want to add something, Fahad, on this report? My colleague Fahad is here as well.
Yeah, so you have already covered all points. Just one additional thing, like this report is giving us a lot of data from the unit level specifically. Like, for example, if you have allocated different cost centers, or like let's say profit center or other business objects at the unit level, then you can have this report more useful. Like, it's not the compliance report, but this is different than to our SRO of our report, because it's giving me more detail at the unit level. So this is really useful for all those clients who will be transitioning from FIA to FIGL, because they will have this capability as part of this report, and then it's useful for those customers.
Good. Thank you, Fahad, for your input. And as I mentioned before, there are reports that can be scheduled. The previous report that I've mentioned before as well, the contract expiration, and the other previous reports that are other than the disclosure compliance reports, they can also be scheduled. And you can schedule it based on the required. So if you want to run it on a weekly basis or a monthly or a yearly, it can be scheduled, and you will see the report generated and ready for you to use as requested on the scheduled report date. Consolidated financial statements. I know I'm already up on time. I can cover it next time, Kara, or should I continue?
Perhaps we can spend a couple of minutes to wrap it up so we can have everything in one workshop.
Okay, sounds good. Edward, will that be okay with you?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, so consolidated financial schedule. This is a new report. Again, this report can be, I'll show you the three ways of what it's giving us. So basically, the financial all column schedule that we have, now we can actually, multiple lease contracts can be seen on the all column schedules under this consolidated financial schedule that's available. Instead of user going one by one and verifying the schedules, if the schedule needs to be reviewed and validated, you can actually simply come to the main page, and we have the option of consolidated financial schedules report. Let me go back on the UI. Now that I have it, you can come on the main menu, reporting module, consolidated financial schedules. Filters available for use as in any other report. As well as you can modify the status, and then you can also duplicate and you can play more with it if you would like to, as well as, so basically this will give you all column schedules for the contracts that are active. And I believe the same thing can also be exported. When you come to the main menu, you come on the import and export information. If you come on the section of export, and if you want to export all your schedules. So if you click here, you can select what type of position you are, lessee or lessor. You can select your years. There is no limitation to it. And you can have additional filters here. Plus you will have your all column schedules here, including the other schedules, which is payment, provision, liability, etc. So you can drill down, but the option for filters is limited as compared to what you have seen in the consolidated financial schedules. But you can still drill down here as well, based on based on the available feed filter that you have. So basically, yeah, the financial schedules can be reviewed in multiple ways here. Back to my UI. The CTR and the GL balance report. So next, last but not the least, these reports are not on our main UI on the lease accounting module. They are actually on the Nakisa general ledger module, which can be accessed from there. Eventually, we'll bring it back to the main page, which is Nakisa Lease Accounting. And consolidated transaction report is basically displaying the list of transactions that have been triggered and posted in the Nakisa Lease Accounting Suite. If you go ahead, Kat.
Ruchika, sorry to interrupt, but I was thinking maybe we can dedicate this to a different session where we talk about transactions, because we are over the time and many of us have other meetings. So we wrap it up. We went through all the great reports that we have in the front end, and the last one, the CFS, has that view of the schedule that that was something that many of our users wanted to have. It's there, and hopefully with this intro, all our users will start delving in more into reports. Thank you so much, Ruchika. This was a great presentation.
Thank you, Katrina, and everyone for the support.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.